Welcome back to PsychVids. Today we are asking, what is attachment theory? We're going to dive into one of the most powerful ideas in all of psychology, a concept that can seriously unlock a whole new understanding of yourself, your partner, and why you connect with people the way you do.
Have you ever wondered about this? I mean, you meet someone, things are going amazing, and then, boom, they get distant. Or maybe you're the one who feels that wave of panic when a partner just needs a little bit of space. It's confusing, right? It feels so personal, and honestly, it can be really painful.
But what if I told you that these reactions, they aren't random at all? They are actually predictable patterns. They follow a script that was written for you in the very first moments of your life, way before you even had words to describe it.
So, to really get this, we have to go way back to the very beginning. We're going to explore how our first relationships literally build the emotional foundation, this lifelong blueprint for pretty much every connection we have later on.
This all kicks off with the psychologist John Bowlby back in the 1950s. He came up with this pretty radical idea at the time, that a kid's bond with their caregiver isn't just about getting food or a place to sleep. Nope, it is a deep, biological drive for safety and comfort. An infant literally has to stay close to survive, and that need wires their entire system for connection.
But, okay, how do you actually see these different bonds in action? Well, a researcher named Mary Ainsworth created this totally brilliant experiment in the 70s. She figured out that the key wasn't how a child reacted when their caregiver left the room. The real magic, the big reveal, was how they reacted when the caregiver came back. That one moment, the reunion, said everything.
And from watching these little reunion moments, Ainsworth and other researchers who followed her pinpointed 4 distinct patterns. You can think of them as the 4 basic blueprints for how we learn to love, to trust, and to connect with other people.
All right, let's break these down. And as we go, seriously, see if any of them ring a bell. First up, secure attachment. This happens when your caregiver was a pretty consistent and reliable source of comfort. As an adult, this usually means you're comfortable with intimacy and you generally trust people. Then you have anxious preoccupied. This often comes from having a caregiver who was unpredictable, loving one minute, maybe unavailable the next. This can create an adult who is terrified of being abandoned and might need a lot of reassurance. Third is dismissive-avoidant. This can happen if a caregiver was emotionally distant or rejecting. The child learns, hey, independence is safer than closeness. So as adults, they really value their self-reliance and can see intimacy as a threat. And finally, there's fearful-avoidant, which is often tied to trauma. Here, the caregiver was a source of both comfort and fear. You can imagine the internal conflict that creates. As an adult, you desperately want connection, but you're also deeply afraid of it.
Now, here's where it all comes together. These early experiences, they don't just vanish. They get baked into our brains as a sort of mental map, what psychologists call an internal working model, that we then use to navigate all of our adult relationships. Yeah, it's basically the set of unconscious rules you have about love and connection. Do you expect people will be there for you when you need them? Do you feel deep down that you're worthy of love? The answers are all written into this internal model.
And this map shows up everywhere. It influences who you're drawn to. You know that classic push-pull dynamic where an anxious person and an avoidant person find each other? Total attachment stuff. It dictates how you fight. Do you get loud and demanding, or do you shut down and go silent? It even shapes your basic feelings of self-worth and how you handle your own emotions when you get upset. Okay, hearing all this, you might be feeling a little stuck. I get it. If this whole blueprint thing is set in childhood, what does that mean for us now? And that brings us to the biggest, most important question of all. Can you actually change your style? I mean, really, are you locked into these patterns that you learned when you were a toddler for the rest of your life? And the answer, from decades of research, is a huge, hopeful, resounding no. Your attachment style is not a life sentence. It is a learned pattern. And the best thing about learned patterns, they can be unlearned. They can be rewritten. And this leads us to this really powerful concept called earned secure attachment. It's the idea that even if you didn't start out with a secure blueprint, you can absolutely develop one as an adult. You can earn it through new experiences, self-awareness, and surrounding yourself with healthy relationships.
Now, this journey is totally possible, but it's not automatic. It kicks off with self-awareness. Hey, just by watching this, you're taking a huge first step. It means actively seeking out relationships with secure friends or partners, people who can show you a different way to connect. And yeah, it often involves things like therapy, learning new ways to communicate, and finally setting boundaries that actually protect your peace.
So, if there's one thing you take away from all of this today, let it be this.
Our earliest bonds are incredibly important. They absolutely draw that first map for us, but they do not have to be our final destination.
Understanding your blueprint. That is the first and most powerful step you can take towards building the healthy, amazing connections you really, truly want. Subscribe so you don't miss an episode.